just don't think it's going to work. They're probably better invest in just keeping the pace going in the peloton and getting a little bit closer to jump across on the climb if they really want to do it. But well, he's going for it. Maybe Austin maybe put his teammates in a better position.
The other side of Dumfries Avenue. Now there's a turn here. The left turn that's approaching that's different from the time trial circuit. Oh, that effort from Van der Merwe has been brought back. It looks to be fading, doesn't he? So your assessment there of maybe just see what happens, given what's happened with the crash, might well come to fruition. Good number still for Eritrea, keeping their riders up to the front of this group. But again, the way this is going with the breakaway group, it is going to need somebody to commit to chasing.
Riders at the front of the peloton, because only 3 riders, they've got 2 riders in the breakaway, and then the other one is riding at the front of the peloton. It's a little bit of a weird move. Might be either bad communication, or he's trying to sort of lull the other riders into a false sense of security, riding at the front, dropping the pace a little bit, and should be Alex.
That climb, and if he has to do that, then you worry a little about him. Keep your eye on him. Again, you already questioned as to what might be happening with it. Yes, there we go. He's not comfortable, is he?
No, I don't think so. And he was already almost dropped at the last time up this climb. So he does seem to be one of the least comfortable riders in this break. And maybe, well, of course, the handlebars dropping is not helping that.
Back to the coast in a moment. Just over a minute at the last check between the leaders and what was left of the peloton. Already had several non-finishers. Another retiree, I'm afraid. A 102 from Morocco. He was struggling on lap 1, wasn't he? We saw him out the back. Ashraf El Kurmi is a non-finisher, I'm afraid. And that's that for his road race. Walker, Payur, Novak, Schmidt and Moore. 2 riders from USA, and they're accompanied by Eckerstoffer of Austria. Wearing 76 there, the only rider in that red and black kit of Oostenrijk, Austria. Those that do have 2 or 3 at the very max. Now at the front, this is interesting.
The climb, and then, you know, at the 4th climb, it's just going to be too much for them, and they'll have to let a gap go. And we're really seeing sort of the main favourites plus a few outsiders still in that group. Maybe a bit of a surprise here and there, but they'll still. It does look in this. Well, I'd almost call it a first peloton, but it looks like the riders are more thinking about it as a sort of a breakaway, because they're continuing to turn around to. Yeah, everyone seems to be participating in the riding as well, so it's interesting developments.
Number 59 there at the back, Michael Leonard's been in the news all day. Ineos Grenadiers have announced the signing of another teenager. Josh Tarling, of course, joining them start of next year, and there's a pattern that's really developing, certainly in that team, of signing riders in their teens. Michael Leonard is set to be seen as somebody who can maybe develop on the GC front. That's certainly what the press communique said and his interview said.
That sort of team also exists to develop riders and yeah, make them into what they can be. And yeah, Leonard maybe not had the big results as junior yet, because not getting someone up to a World Tour contract if it's not a special rider.
Yeah, you obviously get to know somebody's coach, you have a look at the numbers they do, and I guess that's where it really starts, and you can then make sure that you get the racing experience on the road. Again, well, I don't think we're expecting Michael Leonard to come along and win the Tour de France next year, but he will be on the Ineos Grenadiers, and of course he will be a man to watch as we see one of the chase groups here. That's number 21 from Italy, Dario Belletta. teammate just in front of him, and that teammate is Matteo Scalco. Number 44 here is Daniel Lima, and this is one of the groups that's behind the main chasing group. 4 laps to go. 28 seconds for this chase group, for the group over the chase group. See, Emil Herzog is in this group chasing on, and it is the main chase group, the one we mentioned that Leonard was in. I see that Vlad van Mechelen is in there as well. Eritrea have missed this, and they're one of the nations desperately trying to pedal back on to make sure that the 2 chasing groups get back together. Now this looks like the Colnago of Jan Christen.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it's the real favourites now moving, and it's interesting because there's still 68 kilometres to go, and I think in most races you'd sort of expect that it's the maybe sort of the second line favourites, the out, and that's much easier if this racing is really exciting.
Well, we've just seen the slowest lap so far, but of course, we're halfway into the race. DNF, I should say, but you can see why. That looks very painful. He has the consolation of leaving Australia with the rainbow jersey already, and he's done a sterling job to continue for as long as he did. He looks very hurt.
Here we've got some of abandoned. It says Menno Housing is abandoned as well, so I might have been wrong on some of the earlier calls, if that's correct.
Towards the finale.
Well, he's heading towards, but yeah, I think we've already seen the start of the final, really, because the favourites are on the move. There's a few outsiders up the road already. I
have to say the French team has great numbers still in this chase. There are 4 riders here.
Yeah, the French team is really a team with a lot of depth. Maybe not really that one favourite who's going to finish it off, but of course, if you've got enough numbers, then there's still a chance that you can work over the other riders who maybe don't have the teammates to counter that. And the interesting thing is they haven't really worked at the front of the peloton either, so they're sort of trying to play the smart game, and I mean, so far it's working. This gap is down to half a minute, was a minute, and they really haven't spent that much energy chasing, so the French team might be the smart ones in this race.
Thomas Vauclair might be very happy with what she's seeing. I can tell you, I managed to identify 3 of the 4 riders. Thibaut Gruel was there, as was Leandre Lazoué and Mathis Grisel.
For Team DSM, where he's headed next year. The development team, of course, not the World Tour team quite yet. But one of those riders with a long-term contract at one of the World Tour development teams. So, yeah.
Australia, good to see. We want success for the home nation. Of course, we're watching everything on 2 wheels here over the weekend, but it's not the only sport that's on.
Yes, that's correct. There's 4 riders in the peloton still, and now it does seem like 2 of them are going up the road in this. What's the 3rd group on the road? In fact, I think, because this is the 2nd group. We saw some attacks from the peloton trying to form a 3rd group. So
that first chasing group you saw was at 41 seconds, so the gap's grown a little bit again. And then the next group at just under a minute. There they are.
Now we've seen that pattern quite a lot, that the gap seems to go out on the flat part just after the finish, and then it seems to come back on the climb, maybe just after the climb. It's quite an obvious pattern. It's interesting that really not much changes from lap to lap, except that now we've really got a few riders off the front. I think there's at least maybe 15 or 20 riders off the front of this group, and maybe even more than in the group itself.
He's in fact still in the race. I've just spotted him looking good actually at the back of that group alongside the Pau Martí. Not too common for a Spaniard, but he hopes to be a classics man.
These are some interesting moves, because I think Emil Herzog has gone up the road now, as we see Dario Belletta being dropped once again. Herzog going up the road. Kristen seemed to be responding, so we're really getting into the favourites, getting a move on now.
Of course, losing contact a little bit in that group. Still in there, he was with Paumarti.
But not quite as dominant as he's been throughout the season.
The Wallabies are in town on the flag. I think that's a change of outfit. Good effort to get on the camera. Now we've got an attack.
Yeah,
Morgado again, like, trying to follow.
It looks like it's Jørgen Nordhagen for Norway, one of the better climbers in the junior category at the moment. You see he's not too big, so he goes uphill quite quickly. And a lot of riders suffering under that pace now.
Paumarti, the Spanish rider I was telling you about, just dropped out the back there and considerably. Hersing is still in this group. There he is, number 33. Just in front of the other remaining British rider. That's Jed Smithson. Number 74 there for Slovenia is being dropped. That's Nathan Gregorčić. And 65 here for Australia, Oscar Chamberlain. Making sure he works hard to get back in, but just off the back.
Yeah, interesting to see. Here we go. It's only a few riders left there, and these are the real favourites. We've got Nordhagen with Morgado, who's been on the move quite a lot already. Emil Herzog has made it over, and Jan Kristen at the front of that group. They're trying to chase back on.
87 there is Samuel Novak. A French rider, we did see Paul Magnier was the first on the move, but again, we didn't really see too much of that front group, did we? And so much could have changed backwards and forwards. Have to try and work that one out when we get a look. Luzwe still in the group here, number 6. And again, Nordhagen is just moving at the front with Morgado left-hand side. A little bit of a gap between. There's a quick word as they'll work together. An attack from Mount Pleasant. Can it stick to the line? I'm not sure.
Well, it really depends on the situation, but I think the more interesting thing to talk about is just how early this race has already opened up. And
yes.
Apparently it is possible. Of course, the junior races may be the differences in the interesting thing, because well, I think there was some speculation about, certainly for the men elite race, you know, waiting to the last lap and seeing if the moves would happen there. But you know, if this pattern is anything to go by, we'll see quite an exciting race from quite far out. And Canada over the 6 riders probably cooperating. You'd think they'd be able to come back, but Ledge as well. So actually, there's only 4 riders, riding in this group. So that sort of makes sense that they're not on your wheel is maybe not the best idea. So yeah.
This is Hersing, one of the riders chasing on in group 3. They now sit at, what do we have? Tice. The other riders who weren't doing any work out to do so. That was Paul Magnier. This is now group 3. 65 there at the back is Oscar Chamberlain. Just in front of him for Eritrea. That rider is Yoel Gebregerish. And this is back to the front. Zach Walker, who's the British champion from the Isle of Man.
Well, we see one of the groups further back crossing the finish line. Does look like this is, well, still, I think we've got 35 riders over the line at the moment. So this is for 36th place, in fact, which is, you know, it doesn't sound too bad, but they are quite a long way behind. Maybe, yeah, I can't quite see the time there, but it's, yeah, this group is definitely out of it for the victory at 2:40 at the moment.